So the area that we're going to be focusing on today is around our shoulders. And one of the reasons I'm focusing around our shoulders is not just when we do this, our breath shortens, and you can even try it there now. You know, when you come in, you kind of feel a tightness in the center of the chest, and that stops our breath. But we're all doing that now that we're looking at so many videos, so much online. And I'd like to help you kind of break this pattern, because the other part that's associated with this pattern of our shoulders rounding in and these muscles here are getting tight, and it automatically, all by itself, without us doing anything, actually leads us into a pattern of anxiety. So when we soften the muscles here, when we relax the breath here, it kind of sends a signal into the brain that we're all right. We can put down the worry and let ourselves relax. So it's a funny thing to think that a posture like this, like the one that we're so familiar with, can cause us actually to have anxious thoughts. But that's exactly what happens. And I'd like to help you break that habit a little bit today. So come and lie down onto your mat and get yourself comfortable. For this one, as having a pillow underneath your head is a really good idea. So get a kind of a, well, I did say pillow, but it's more kind of a hard cushion that you need for this. So you don't want your head kind of sinking deep into the pillow. So come and rest on the floor and have your feet kind of about hip distance apart with the knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And just take a breath, let the breath come down into the belly. And as you exhale, let that breath empty out so the lower back can come a little bit closer to the floor. And perhaps resting the hands on the belly to help us with that breath, so that as you inhale, you feel the belly rising into meet the hands, and as you exhale, you can just use a bit of extra pressure to push the belly down towards the spine and the spine down towards the ground. And just go and do that movement 1 or 2 more times. Connecting with the breath as a resource for settling. Good. And then letting that go, and just notice how your shoulders are resting on the ground. So for some of us, our shoulders are going to be hunched up like this. That's quite an exaggerated thing. Others kind of push the shoulders right back, and that's not where we want them to be either. But we want to explore, well, where are you starting from? You know, how far is your right and your left shoulder up off the ground? So it's just noticing that allows our attention to really begin to undo the knots of tension. It's until we notice the knots of tension, it's only when we do that we can begin to undo them. So how are your shoulders right now? And are you aware of any way that you're kind of holding them up off the ground? You won't be doing this deliberately or consciously. It might become more obvious as we do the movements. So I'm going to invite you to bring both arms resting by the side, palms of the hands turned up towards the ceiling. I'm going to do a very slow and gentle one. So somatics is about rewiring our muscles out of tension, out of pain. And to rewire, we have to move slowly so that the brain can really catch up and allow those muscles to lengthen out. So go ahead now and just begin to roll that right arm all the way in. So it's like a rolling pin until the back of the hand is pointing towards your thigh, and then very gently let it unwind. Let it unwind. And doing that movement again, rolling it all the way in. So feel the whole length of the arm moving with you. And now beginning to notice what's happening in the inner shoulder. And then let go. And just continuing with this rolling. And then very, very slowly all the way back out. So what we're really wanting to do as we roll in is to tighten the pecs. And the pecs are just around here, the inside of the shoulder. And then as we come out, we unwind and let those muscles lengthen. One or two more times, and next time the shoulder comes up, can you direct it as if it's coming towards the opposite hip? Making that diagonal movement and then unwinding again, lengthening. One more time now. Again, as you round in, does the belly tighten? Does the back flatten against the floor a little bit? Just to notice. And letting that go now. And then just positioning the hand so the palm of the hand is facing towards your thigh. You're going to keep the hand on the arm, the lower arm where it is. You're just going to raise that right shoulder up towards the ceiling. And then very, very slowly, let it come back down towards the ground. And just continuing with this movement. Again, notice what happens in the belly and the lower back, how it might flatten out as well. And how smooth is this movement for you? Or do you feel maybe as you're coming out of it that it feels a little rusty, a little shaky even? Which means that these muscles have over-tightened and are trying to learn a new way of letting go. So go through those shaky, jerky places. If they're there, go through them slowly, really slowly. And just last time now, letting that shoulder melt back into the ground beneath you. And then just let go, let your arms really settle down. And notice how it is now in your right shoulder compared to your left shoulder. Perhaps your right shoulder is a little bit closer to the floor. And I say perhaps because these muscles take time to unwind and rewire. Just notice if that process has begun to happen. Now let's move into the next movement. So you're going to take both arms up towards the ceiling, interlock them. And then keeping the fingers pointing up towards the ceiling, can you just begin to rotate the arms? So they're winding all the way in until you can feel that tightness around the pecs, the upper chest, and then very slowly let it unwind. And next time you do that, could you take the head towards the left? And you're rotating the arms until you can see the back of your right hand. Not the palm, the back. And again, the more you turn and twist, so even exaggerate a little bit and feel again the belly tighten. And then very, very slowly unwinding. And last time in this position now. And then letting that slow lengthening happen as you unwind, as you bring the arms back to the starting position. Keeping the hands pointing up towards the ceiling, but this time just take them a little bit over towards the left. And keeping them held there towards the left, could you begin that turning and twisting motion through the arms, through the head? Coming back to center, to your starting point. And again, hands move over towards the left, you twist. But now get really kind of curious about what's happening in the right ribs, how they might be lengthening. And then unwind, let it go, come back to center, hands pointing upwards. And again, just continuing with this movement and keeping your awareness inwards. And the muscles that you're tightening, constricting, you're unwinding on the way out. One more time now. Feeling how the back of the shoulder moves with you as well. And then letting the back of the shoulder come back down towards the ground, arms resting down, and just let them come into that resting position on the ground again. And then bringing your attention inwards and again noticing, okay, well, what's happening now? How does my right side feel compared to my left? And for me, inwardly, it feels quite different. Like there's a softness and a lightness in my right side, but it's also heavier because it's closer to the floor. A little bit more space there in my upper chest. And just one last one that we're going to do on this side, taking the arms back up towards the ceiling. Taking the feet together, the knees together. And now, could you bring the arms once again to the left, but let the knees come to the right. And then all the way back. So the arms and the head in one direction as the knees go in the other direction. And they're crossing themselves, they cross over themselves in the center. But as you continue this movement, get really curious about the twisting that's happening in the spine and around the diaphragm as well. That diaphragm just below the center of the chest. This large muscle that allows us to breathe in fully and deeply, but only when it's relaxed. So in moving in opposite direction with the arms and the legs, can you feel how that diaphragm muscle might be stretched out, might be turned around itself to release the tension? Let's do it on the other side now. Arms to the right, knees to the left. And noticing whether this side is any different to the first side. And it may be because this is the first time that we've done movement on this side. But keeping your attention in the lower ribs. And good, back to the center. Now arms over towards the right and twist. Let the head turn and come all the way back to the center. And again, just continuing with that movement. And as the hands turn, so you can see the back of the left hand, what else is moving with you? How are the ribs separating, lifting out away from each other. And as they do this, as the ribs begin to create space, it gives space for the lungs underneath to breathe more fully. Right, coming back to the center, just letting both arms rest down by the side now. And take this moment to check in once again. What's landing in you now? What part of the body, particularly around your shoulders and your chest, is there a little bit more space? A little bit more landing, so that you can feel the heaviness of your bones sinking down towards the ground. You're going to do a little bit more on the left shoulder, so just take a moment just to notice how your left shoulder is lying now. And then take the palm of the hand, take the palm of the left hand so it's facing in towards the left thigh. And then could you bring that left shoulder in the direction of the ceiling? And very, very slowly let it land back down towards the ground. And just continuing like this, slow and steady. No need to force or push here. And as the shoulder comes up towards the ceiling, how does the head move? And does it move? And if it's not moving, either your pillow is too squishy or your neck is tight, not allowing you to move, and of course that won't allow you to breathe either. Yet, and then just letting once again that shoulder land down. Let the palm of the hand relax so it's pointing up towards the ceiling, and again, just checking in, how is your left shoulder now? How is it releasing? Is it finding its way slowly down towards the ground that you're lying on? I really hope so. And then go ahead and take the left hand a little bit away from the left side of the body. Palm of the hand pointing up towards the ceiling. And then very slowly, beginning to roll that hand all the way in until the back of the hand is facing the thigh. And then very slowly, let it unwind. So doing the left side, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on the right side as well, so that you can begin to see. Now you're not doing it on both sides, but if you want a visual of what it looks like on the right side, I'm showing you. But for this one, we're just focusing on the left. And as the left shoulder comes up, can you direct it as if you wanted it to come towards the opposite hip? And then unwind. So we're going to 2 more times. Again, noticing what happens to the belly as you roll in, as you roll that arm out. 1 more time. Good. And then letting that go. And now let's begin with both arms together. So rolling both arms in, bringing the chin up towards the ceiling. And then very, very slowly. How can you unwind and soften and lengthen and smooth out the parts of us that have been kind of tied up tight in knots? And again, find your way, curling in. Head comes up, head comes down as the arms come out. And just 1 more time now. Head comes up, the arms curl in, and then let everything release. Chin comes down, arms unwind. And just pausing. And notice how it is here for you now. So are the shoulders a little bit closer to the ground? And check out how it feels in the chest. For me, it feels like there's more space, there's more width. It's like my wings have gotten a little bit lighter. The wings of my shoulder blades. The breath is becoming a little smoother. And even my mind seems to have slowed down a little bit. But check out how it is in your body. That's what's important. So this was releasing some of our muscles of anxiety. So how's it to let go of a little bit of that holding? And take a deep breath. Arching the back, and then as you exhale, just softening out of that and just preparing to come up into sitting once again. So that was just a short snippet, really, of how we can rewire these muscles of anxiety so that we can take the tension out of the body, but also take the tension out of the mind.